Every single study done on happiness of the male gender over the last few years, and even the past few decades, has shown a general downtrend in just the overall level of happiness that people have. You know, the perceived happiness and actual happiness are going down at levels and rates that are faster than I can really even fathom, and everyone should be having alarm bells raised in their heads over why this is happening as a society. This isn't something we just see in the male group, it's also in females as well too, where just general happiness has been going down consistently through the modern age. And, you know, to trace this problem back to something that every man should have is his mission. You know, men don't have a mission in the 21st century. I don't think they've had a mission for the last 50 years or maybe the last 40, because quite frankly, there is no big war to fight. And now we're creating these little mini conflicts because of all the problems that society is going through, and because there's no unified, mission that men should have. And society is telling men to not have the mission that has been given to them by God, and it's causing so many problems in society and just in our personal lives as a whole. Since we've entered the age of technology, porn and video games are forced down our throats. There's no shortage of guys that I know who play video games for 5-6 hours a day and who are generally unhappy when they're not playing those video games. They're happy when they're playing video games, but they're at a much, much, much lower place than they should be when they're not playing video games or watching the porn or etc. because they don't have a mission. There is no big fight going on in their lives, so they create the fights through video games, they create the romance through porn, and it's ultimately destroying any chance they have at feeling happy, which is terrible. And I think a lot of this is caused by just destroying the very typical, nuclear family. It's like men are not told to be protectors anymore because that's something called toxic masculinity, apparently. Let's break it down right here. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity, only a lack of masculinity. To be toxic, there has to be no masculinity, because masculinity is not a toxic thing when it's in its purest form, when it's in the right form. It's something where we protect people, we lead as we should, because, if you look at our balls make us good at 3 things: sex, violence, and leadership. Every single study you watch will show that an increased level of testosterone will increase your confidence, increase the ability to lead, even anger to a point, but I don't think that anger is necessarily a bad thing, because anger causes movement, and it makes us change things, it makes us speak out against the norm, it makes us act. Rage is not a good thing, because, filtered rage will just lead to violence, unsenseless violence, that I may add, that is not good for society at all. But our balls make us good at those 3 things, and we haven't had the opportunity to use them in the right way, because if you look at it, the times that we do have sex, most of the times men are having sex with people they don't care about. They're not looking for someone they want to have children with that they can then protect and lead to create a better world, and they're not looking for a wife that they can marry to live out God's image and live out the right way, because men weren't meant to have multiple partners. And the increased level of psychological harm that happens when men do is clearly evident through a ton of different studies. When you lower your standards for someone else to have sex with you, that's going to have sex with you, you lower the standards for yourself. You now view yourself as less, and that's a bad thing, and it lowers your self-worth. Your mission becomes tarnished, because now your mission is constantly being interrupted by these depraved acts that aren't human, that aren't you. And so when I'm looking at it, I think that every man should be leading. Every man should be working on their hobbies to create the life, maybe not for their woman right now, maybe not because they don't have a woman or that they don't have the right woman, but for the future woman, the future children they're going to have, because that's literally what we're called to do. And 95% of men, or even more, have that mission to have children and to reproduce and to lead. It's in our balls, it's in our minds, it's in our hearts, because we need to be able to do that. We need to be working for protecting other people. We need to be working as the breadwinners in the family. And society's telling us not to marry. Society's telling us to sleep around. Society is telling us to not put ourselves in a place where we can lead, because that's toxic, and that we should force women into leadership positions. Not saying women in leadership positions is wrong. It's not. They should have that opportunity. But I'm also not saying it should be forced. Forced equality is not something that's good, because it ruins the natural order of things, in a sense that we are compelled towards different paths. Guys are compelled to be protectors and breadwinners, generally speaking, looking at what our balls allows us to do, and women are generally led to be caretakers because of the womanly instincts that the hormones cause in their bodies, and the ability to be moms in that sense. And society's telling us to go exactly against everything that our bodies are telling us to do, that God's telling us to do, and that is overall shown to be the most beneficial for our minds and souls. And so every man should have a mission. If you're watching this, go out and do something that benefits the world, that benefits you and inherently benefits the world, because generally speaking, when you're in a better place to help other people, the world is in a better place as well, because you are actively using your opportunities that you're given throughout the day to make the world a better place. So this is a little bit of a rant. I'm hyped up on caffeine because I'm about to hit my workout, but I hope everyone enjoyed this. I'll be talking more about the other thoughts that I've had in regards to matters that relate to this and in general. And hope you guys will be able to use this to make yourselves better, make the world a better place. Have a great day, guys. Peace.